Hi, welcome back to my kitchen. Hey Paula, this recipe is for you. It's called Donna's Cheesy Grits, and it's actually a take on your recipe. It's not making it better, it's just making it my own, and I hope you like my version too. So let's go through the list of ingredients. We have 2 cups of half and half, or you can substitute all milk, 4 cups of chicken broth, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1/4 teaspoon of pepper, I use freshly cracked, 1 pinch of cayenne pepper. That's optional if you don't like a little bit of heat. This isn't much. I mixed all those together and they're in the same container there if you're wondering. 2 cups of quick, not instant, grits, 8 ounces of cream cheese cubed, 1/2 cup of unsalted butter softened, 8 ounces of shredded sharp cheddar cheese, Kraft of course, divided into 2 because you're going to use it 2 separate places, 3 beaten eggs, and 1/2 cup of crispy cooked bacon bits. So when I come back, we'll put it together. I'll show you how to make it. Okay, here we're back. I have all the liquid ingredients here getting ready to add the grits to it. I put in the half and half, the chicken broth, and all the seasonings. So it's just about coming to a boil here. It actually has. I just turned it down a bit. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add the grits. And with grits, if you've ever cooked them before, you know you don't want to dump them. You want to add them gradually, because if you do dump them, you're going to have a gloppy mess and it won't be good. So just keep stirring as you're pouring them in and gradually add them to the boiling liquid. And these are, like I said in the beginning when I was listing the ingredients, these are quick grits. So they don't take as long as the traditional grits do. I chose these specifically so we could get through this recipe in a quicker time. I do enjoy the quick grits, but actually I like the old-fashioned grits the best. That's just my preference. So you can see we've got all the grits in there. And if my cameraman will get up close and down into the pan, you'll be able to see it's starting to thicken up a bit. And what we'll do now is we're going to have to let this cook, and it takes about 5 minutes. So when we come back, we'll add the rest of the ingredients, and you can see what it looks like before it goes into the oven. So we'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, we're back here. Look how thick and rich these are at this point. They look so good, don't they? Okay, now we're going to start adding the rest of our ingredients. We'll start with the butter and get that all nice and melted. And because the grits are nice and hot, it won't take long. I just love grits. Those have always been my favorite whenever we would go down to North Carolina. And we did so every summer because my folks are actually from the South, and we would spend the summers down there. And my grandmother and my aunts and uncles always had grits for breakfast. We didn't even know what they were when we first went there and were kids, but we certainly grew to love them through the years. So next comes the cream cheese. And you see I cut it up in little squares just to make it easier to melt. And then we'll put in the other cup of cheddar, or actually the first cup of cheddar, because we're going to save some to put on the top. And that's not going to actually go on there until the end. So once you get this on, oh, and I wanted to tell you too, for people who are vegetarian and don't want to have the chicken stock, you could use all milk. And then when we come to the bacon, just leave that off too. And that's for my sister because she is a vegetarian. I wanted her to know how she could make it. Okay, so we were waiting for the cheese to melt, and that's happened here. Okay, and the last part is adding the eggs. But with eggs, you want to temper. And I don't know if you all know what that is, but that's adding a little bit of hot to the egg. And what that will do is just make it so the eggs don't cook, because you don't want that to happen. You want them to blend. Okay, so finish stirring those in there. And this is what's going to make it bind together. And puff up too in the oven. Okay, it's looking pretty good here. A couple more stirs and have it done. Okay, I have my oven set at 350. I've greased my pan, and now we're just going to pour it in. That was a heavy pan. Okay, so I'm going to bake this off for about 30 minutes, 30 to 35 minutes, and when we come back, I'll show you the finished product. Okay, we're going to take it out of the oven now. Ooh, man, doesn't that look good? Okay, so the last part of my directions here are going to be to top it with some cheese. And then we're going to put it back in the oven for another 5 minutes. So we'll get this on. And the reason I waited to add it at the last part is just because I wanted it to taste like a topping instead of cooked into it. Okay, so now the bacon bits. And I actually have a little bit more than a half a cup because I love bacon. And we like it really crispy, so I made sure it was really crisp. Just sprinkle that on so it looks pretty. Okay, now this is going to go back into the oven for another 5 minutes. And when I come back, I'll show you how it looks completed and on a plate. Thank you. Be back. Okay, we're ready to take it out of the oven. Doesn't that look good? Okay, so what I'm going to do now is get a little spoon and give it a try. It's going to be awfully hot. You can see the steam rising out of it. When I do my grits and I eat them, I usually smash them out like this so I can eat them quicker too. It's a little trick I learned a long time ago. So here we go. Make sure I get some of the yummy bacon with it. This is really good. I know you're going to love it, seriously. You have to try this recipe. It's really great. So thank you for coming to my kitchen, and we'll see you next week. Thank you.